And our first guest on Where You Live is the Mayor of Elkford, Dean McKerracher. Dean, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for coming. It's good to have you here.
Absolutely. Now, you are currently in your fourth term as the Mayor of Elkford. What's the ride been like for you so far?
It's been lots of fun. We've completed a lot of projects in the last term, the 4 terms that I've been the mayor. The first 3 years I was on council, we didn't do a lot as a council, and that was my commitment when I ran for mayor, was to get this community up and running and moving forward and out of the dark ages and into the future. And we're doing that, as you can see from the things we've done in the past 14 years.
We'll talk a little bit more about that in just a bit, but I wanted to rewind a little bit here and talk about when you first came to Elkford. You spent some time in trail mining and then you moved to Elkford. What was the town like when you first came here, and when was that?
It was 1971. The town was very small, trailers only. There was some homes being constructed when I first came here. My first 10 months was in Sparwood. There was no homes for us in Elkford. So I brought my wife and 2 young daughters to Sparwood. And then my youngest daughter was born in the old Michelle Hospital, which is no longer there now. But yeah, we moved to Elkford about 10 months after we were in Sparwood, and into our house that I'm still in today, almost 46 years later.
You spent a lot of time working on the mine here at Fording River, but in 2001 you decided to run for council and eventually became the mayor 3 years later. What was the decision-making process there? Why did you want to get involved?
Well, I've always been a social guy. I was a board of directors for the BC Curling Association for 5 years, as well as the credit union, and so I got more and more social with my careers. And when I was asked to run for council, they actually wanted me to run for mayor. Excuse me, the first term, and I said no. I wanted to run for council and be a councillor for the first term and see whether or not it was what I really wanted to do. And so I was successful with winning that election as a councillor, and spent 3 years and realized that I really liked the political world and what it had for us to offer. So,
within your first term, or pretty close to, you really started to shake things up. You oversaw the rebranding of the town. Obviously, Elkford has some unique challenges in the fact that it's not on the highway. It's kind of at the end of the road, or it's at the end of the highway, and it doesn't lead to anywhere. Was that part of the reason for trying to take the town in a different direction and giving it a new face?
Well, it was. I guess the first statement is a little bit incorrect. It's not the end of the road, it's the beginning of the road. Elkford's at the beginning of the road. And that was our first move to get Elkford on the map, was to say we're not at the end, we're at the beginning. It was a lot of money to start with, and but at the end of the day, it was a great step and well worth it.
What do you think the overall benefit has been, if you can look back to when it first came out and to the effect that it's had?
Well, people look at our community as a leading example now. Through all of the process that we've gone through, and part of the things that we've done, not only for the rebranding, but when we've rejuvenated our buildings and put new lighting systems, LED lightings, and new heating systems, and all the things that we've done. When we changed our OCP, we were recognized by the World Association on climate change, and we had a 2-page article in their book that Elkford's OCP was speaking to climate change. And so anything that we do now, it's when we buy new equipment, we make sure that it's as efficient as possible. And when we do things for our buildings, we make sure that they're efficient as possible. This building you're sitting in right now is 17,000 square feet. We heated it the first year for about $8,000. This past year, we got the bills all together, was $5,900 to heat a 17,000 square foot building. So, I mean, that's efficiency at its highest. And so people, like our old office, I think is like $3,000 or $4,000 a month. So, we're going in the right direction, we're going forward, and I hope that anybody in the future that sits in this position will continue to do those things that we're doing.
Do you think that it's kind of, from an outward point of view, people see this as quite an interesting community because its lifeblood is the coal mining industry, yet you've been recognised for being one of the cleanest towns and the most progressive towns in the area?
It is, and when I go to the conferences, FCM, Federation of Canadian Municipalities, or the UBCM, they ask me, how can you be a climate change community and do all the things you're doing environmentally when you live on coal mine money? And I say, you know what? We don't have to be like them. We live downtown. We don't work at the coal mine. We don't live at the coal mine. And anything that we're doing, we're trying to convince them to do the same thing, to be more efficient. They just developed a program where they put 6 LNG haul trucks on. So they're trying to do that as well. So they're working their way the same as we are. They manage their water the same as we manage our water. So all the things that we've done, I hate to say it, the giant is kind of stepping in our footsteps and following us, and that's great. That's a good thing.
That must make you feel pretty proud of the stuff that you've overseen here, and now that the mine is doing that.
It does. It really does. Yeah, it's great.
Now, obviously, the mining industry is heavily linked to this town. Do you think that, in the scenario that the mine closes one day, how do you think the town is in a position to carry on and to move forward?
The reason we started the rebranding in the first place, if you want to go back to that, is because we wanted to attract different industry to the community, a light industry that wasn't tied to the mines, for instance, electronics or whatever. That wasn't tied to the mines, and so that we could survive should the mine shut down. Kimberly learned a lesson, and we know that, we see that, and so we're trying to prepare now for the future. And one of my counselors is always about, he wants a big pot of money so that if the mine shuts down, we can operate for a few years until we find something new. I think now is the time to find something new. And so that's why we rebranded, and part of that rebranding still hasn't been finished. And that was to put a package together and go to the large companies or the different companies around the country and say, here, we have lots of space. We have great air, we have free water, we have lots of land that we can get. And it's a great outdoor living. Mm-hmm. You can walk out your door and go fishing, you can go snowmobiling, you can go out and you can do whatever you want to do.
And speak to that, I mean, obviously the slogan of the town is wild at heart. You have the big signs when you come into town that say the wilderness capital of BC. Is that really, do you feel that's one of the big selling features besides the mine to coming and settling and living in Elkford?
I believe so. If you take somebody out of an office in Calgary that's never been out in this kind of country and bring them to Elkford, they fall in love with Elkford right away. And Elkford's a place that you either love or you hate. So we get people that come here to work in the mines, and they either love it or they hate it. If they don't like it, they go. Their families don't like it, they move. You'll talk to some people that have been here for 40 years.
Now, talk a little bit about the people of this town, because it is a unique town in terms of its location. Do you think that its relative isolation has made the town what it is, and maybe strengthened the bonds between the people in the community?
Well, I believe so. It's a great volunteer community. Everything we do, we have a ton of volunteers that help us with everything that we do. We have some people in town that don't want to let the secret out, what a great place this is to live. They don't want that secret out. They want to keep it to themselves.
And speaking to somewhat diversifying, there's the ski hill that's been developed in town. How successful has that little ski hill been?
It's been a great hill. It's a family hill. It's pretty reasonable to ski there. My kids all learn to ski there, and it's a volunteer group that run it every year, and it's difficult sometimes to get help to run the hill, but overall it's been a great success. The District of Elkford, since I've been the mayor, we've probably put over, I'm going to say $750,000 probably into that ski hill.
Do you ever see the hill taking the path of, say, a Kimberley, where it was at once a community-run hill and it's expanded? Do you think there's that opportunity here?
Well, we've had a couple of people come to us and ask us if they could buy the hill from us, and with no firm commitment. But the land around the ski hill is Crown land, and it's a Crown lease for us. So the District of Elkford has that Crown lease, and we pay that lease every year, and we pay the insurance on the hill for the ski hill because it's under our name. So if anything ever happens throughout the year, somebody gets up and gets hurt, we're covered by insurance. So, but the land around it and the bottom of it is Crown. We're in a move right now, and have been for 5 years now, trying to get the government to authorize us to become for the lack of a better word, the real estate agent for the Crown land. Put a price on it through the Crown, let them bring an assessor and put a price on it, negotiate with the Tandaka over what they expect out of that land, and then we have that package together. So when somebody comes and says we want to buy the ski hill and we might want to buy the land around it, what's it going to cost us? We can say, well, this is the cost, and we can probably get it done in 6 months. But the way it is right now, it's probably a 2.5 year project to get the land, just the land.
Well, it seems like one thing for sure, you're definitely a busy man. You've been a busy man ever since you've been the mayor, and it doesn't seem like it's ending anytime soon.
No.
Are you planning on, after 12 years, are you planning on giving it another run next year at the election?
It won't be 12, it'll actually be 13.
13 by then.
When I'm finished. It'll be 16 years in politics when I'm finished. I've been giving it some serious thought, and my family would like me to resign. Not to resign, but just not to run again. And I'm thinking down that line now that I probably won't run again. I'm getting to the age where I should be retired and having fun. But this is fun. I mean, this is my fun. And I have no idea what I'll do after if I don't run. And who knows, maybe I wouldn't even get elected because, there's a lot of young people coming to the community. Our community is changing. The demographics are changing daily. The mines are hiring 30 people a month. Is there some bright shining star that'll step forward? I hope so. I really do. I'd like to see some young people get in there. I've had advice from other people that go, well, the getting's good and you're on a high and the things you've accomplished have been wonderful. One of my council meetings, we were discussing a new district office. And the comment was, well, we need to build a new office so that he has something to be recognized for. And one of the other councillors said, you mean the conference center is not enough? So on that note, I've suggested council that we should build a new office now. It's 44 years old. It leaks. It's bad. It's in bad shape. Build a new office now, and I'll take the responsibility for the taxpayers if they get up in arms about doing that.
All right, Daniel, thank you very much for joining us on Where You Live.
Thank you, sir.
Don't go anywhere. We've got more Where You Live after the break.